Hey guys, I hope you are doing well. Today I'm going to show you how can you perform a regression analysis using ChatGPT and Python. As you know, regression analysis is a predictive modeling technique that analyzes the relation between the target or dependent variable and independent variable in a dataset. The different types of regression analysis techniques get used when the target and independent variables show a linear or nonlinear relationship, between each other, and the target variable contains continuous values. The regression technique gets used mainly to determine the predictor strings, forecast trend, time series, and in cases of cause and effect relation. In other words, the regression formula assesses the relationship between the dependent and independent variables and find out how it affects the dependent variable on the change of the independent variable. As you may know that there are different types of formula for regression in statistics. However, some common types are such as simple regression and multiple linear regression, polynomial regression, nonlinear multiple polynomial regression, time series regression, and logistic regression. But in this uh, tutorial, I want to focus on linear and nonlinear, both for simple and multiple combination. Okay, before starting, I've prepared an Excel file which it contains different types for regression analysis. For example, in this sheet, I have an information about a catchment area and the flood values, and I want to extract and find the relationship between area and flood values using a linear equation. And also in other sheets, I have different information such as precipitation and runoff, like this sheet. And also in the third sheet, I have three different information. For example, I want to predict or formulate the runoff in February and the precipitation in February and January months. And I want to perform a multiple linear regression between these data sets. And also in the fourth sheet, I want to extract the power function or nonlinear relationship between peak flood and the hydrograph volume. And also in the final sheet, I want to perform a regression analysis based on three different variables using multilinear power. Okay, after providing your data set, you need to enter or go to the ChatGPT environment, and in the search comment type your required prompts. For example, in this section, I want to do regression analysis. Okay, let me correct the grammatical mistake. I want to do regression analysis for my dataset. Calculate the or use a linear formula for this issue. Also calculate the, for example, if you want to use a linear formula, you should calculate the correlation coefficient and find the coefficients of their linear relationship. And finally, to better present your outputs, you should calculate the confidence intervals to show your outputs. Okay, let me ask the ChatGPT to calculate the correlation coefficient, and also confidence intervals. Okay, let's say ChatGPT about our data set, my data set presented below. Sorry. And also you can use Excel format to define your input data set. But here I don't want to use Excel format. Let me copy all of my Excel data set. For example, let me delete this. In order to better represent the input data set, you need to click or copy your data set and click here and select paste special, select values and transpose it. And you can see it's converted to horizontal format. Okay. After that, click here or paste here. And this is our dependent variable and this is independent variables. I mean, the area is independent and the Q or peak flood or flood volume is dependent. Okay, let me find, okay, this is my X variable and this is my Y variable. Okay, and you can add some description about the process required to extract the linear correlation. For example, I want to write, illustrate all calculations step by step. If you write this prompt, ChatGPT starts to calculate and print all calculations which is required for these processes. Okay, let me check grammatically. Illustrate all calculation step by step. And press enter. And after a while, the ChatGPT start to print all calculation. But here we have some error related to the server of ChatGPT and press regenerate. And sometimes the servers are so busy and this is because we get some error and we need to regenerate this. Okay, let me try several times. Okay, the ChatGPT starts to solve this problem. As you can see, it calculates all formula or all calculation step by step. For example, it first calculates the mean average of X variable and then Y variable and other related variables. In this step 3, calculate the covariance which is required for calculation of linear coefficients. For example, in a linear format, you should calculate or estimate the beta 0 and beta 1, and it calculates using these formulas. And finally, ChatGPT find or fitted the linear regression and find the final equation. And also the correlation coefficient of this relation equals 0.93, and it means that the relationship between catchment area and the flood value is very high, and you can use this relationship in further investigation or further studies. And also it calculates the confidence interval for coefficient of beta 1 and beta 0 using these formulas. And this is all steps required for linear regression. And also you can ask ChatGPT to give you a Python code to better plot and calculate the processes. So here I want to ChatGPT to give me a Python code for this issue, plot the best fitted line, confidence confidence intervals, and also print the formula CC, I mean correlation coefficient, and confidence interval, because I want to plot this value and also print at the output. Okay, let me check based on best fitted and confidence, and also okay, press enter, and after a while ChatGPT starts to create the required codes. As you can, it print all codes, and at the end of the creation of code, it gives you some explanation about its code. For example, it says that you should import libraries such as NumPy for numerical application, and also skippypy datasets for a statistical function, including linear regression for analysis, and also matplotlib.pyplot for plotting. If you don't have these libraries on your Python ideal environment, you should install all of these libraries using pipe function. Okay, we assume that you don't have your, or you have not access to this library, and you don't, or you didn't install this function. Okay, let me go to the start menu in my Windows and type command prompt, and you should install all important or all required libraries on your computer. So let me find the Python which is installed on my computer. You can search the Python program or Python and install on your computer easily on the internet. Let me find the location of this program. Okay, excuse me, let me go back to the derive C, go to the program file and find the Python. This is the final, or this is the latest version that I install on my computer. Go to the script and copy this path and write cd to direct to this folder. Okay, Control V, paste the path you copied and press enter, and as you can see, now you are in this route. Now you can easily install the important or the related library on your Python script path. Okay, write PyP. This is one of the best websites for finding and installing related libraries. Okay, let me check. For example, before running this Python code on your computer, you should install all of these, for example, NumPy, skippypy, and matplotlib. Okay, first of all, I want to install this library, copy this library and paste it here and search it and find the latest version of this library. For example, here the February 6, 2024, the NumPy, and copy this command, pipe install NumPy, and go back to the command prompt and paste it and press enter. Because previously I installed this library on my computer and it says that the requirement already satisfied and I don't need to install it again. You can do this process for all required libraries which is written here, and you can easily do this using these processes without any problem. Okay, let me back, copy the code and go to the ideal environment. Find the Python code and click on ideal Python on your computer. Okay, ideal is the integrated development area for debugging and running Python written codes. Okay, Let me go to the file, select the new file, and paste all these codes here. Okay, and then save the output. For example, let me create a new folder and name it reg, and name it linear code. Okay, linear code. Sorry. Linear code. And for running and compiling this code, go to the run menu and click run module or press F button on your keyboard. Okay, after selecting this, if we don't have any error, the model completely calculate the processes and plot the outputs. Let me show the figures. Okay, as you can see, this code calculates the related equation. For example, the linear regression equation between A and Q is written here. The correlation coefficient is here, and also the slope beta and the confidence intervals printed here. And also you can see the best fitted line and also the confidence interval. However, in order to better show the confidence intervals, I want to ask ChatGPT to present the confidence just by line, not by polygons or shaded area. Okay, please, okay, plot the confidence intervals just by lines. Okay, after a while, the ChatGPT starts to recreate the codes based on our statements. And also, I recommend you, if you are new in a Python code or Python program, I ask you, or I recommend you to ask ChatGPT to help you to find out all about coding process. For example, if you are beginner in Python code, write I'm a beginner in Python. Please explain all about codes step by step. Please explain all about. Okay, this is Python, all the about step by step. Sorry, we got something wrong while generating responses, and I think that this error or this message related to the server conditions of ChatGPT. Okay, let me come back and copy the code. And again, select Control A, paste again, and save it before running. Run the module. Okay, I think there are a little bit misunderstanding calculation of confidence interval. Let me check again. Okay, I think there is some misunderstanding for fitting linear regression and calculating confidence intervals, which is made by ChatGPT, and you should ask again the ChatGPT to resolve this error. Okay, let me regenerate this, and I hope the server help us to do this very quickly. Okay, as I write here, I'm a beginner in Python, and please explain all the about code step by step, and it starts to tell you all about this code. First of all, it says that you should import different libraries, and says about each of these libraries, such as, for example, NumPy is a library for numerical computations in Python, and it provides support for large multidimensional arrays and matrix and different information. And also in the step 2, it says that you should enter your input data sets such as dependent variables and independent variables. And also it says that this function is from NumPy, converts a list of values into NumPy array, and also perform a linear regression using this function. And also it says all required steps in this code. Okay, let me ask about the confidence interval. And I said that I ran this code and I found that, sorry, let me correct that. And I found that the best fitted line and confidence dense intervals are the same. Okay, press enter. Okay, it starts to correct the code. Okay, it says that the step-by-step review and corrections, and some correction is in the calculation of confidence intervals, and also in plotting the confidence intervals corrected in the revised codes. Okay, after finishing the coding again, you should need to copy the code and go to the main code, paste, and save the outputs and run the module again. Okay, we got the same figure like previous one. Okay, let me ask the output. The output is similar to the previous one. You should do all require these processes more and more to get the best and final codes to your case study. And I mean that you don't trust the codes which is written by Python, and you should compile it and test it for different conditions and make sure that the final output is the best one that you can get. Okay, let me say that give me the final code, and the ChatGPT starts to combine all of these steps into a one code. Okay, after creating code, it writes different explanation and notes about this code, and you can take a look at this information in order to better understand the coding processes. Let me copy again, paste here, and run it again. Okay, unfortunately it plots the same figures like previous one. Okay, at this time you can go to the ChatGPT. Let me copy the data set. Okay, let me copy and go to the ChatGPT for a new chat and write perform a regression analysis for the blue, for the data set blue, for the data set blue. Let me correct some grammatical mistake. Let me divide with column. Sometimes it can help to better reading data sets using Python. Okay, give me a Python code for this issue. Press enter, and after getting the required code, we can add some codes to plot the confidence interval and other information. Okay, this code just calculate the linear relationship between x and y and print the output. Let me copy this figure, this code, paste here, save, and run the model. Okay, as you can see, it calculates the R square, the p-value, standard error, the interception, and also. Okay, the next time we can add some codes. Add some codes to print the formula. The formula and plot the output and confidence. Let me print the formula, CC, and confidence intervals, and plot the output. Okay, let me. And plot the output and confidence intervals. Okay. Okay, let me copy the code again. Run the module. Okay. This is the regression line, and also I can't find the confidence interval. Okay, let me close this figure, and as you can see, this code calculated all statistical criteria related to this formula. Let me check again to print the formula. Why it didn't? Let me type print the regression and formula. Okay, and also okay, press enter and wait to complete the coding processes. Okay, let me copy this code and paste it here. And okay, finally write or print the regression formula and also the regression line. Okay, let me again correct the code, plot the confidence intervals using lines. Okay, then copy the code again and come back to the ideal environment, paste it, save it, and then run the module. Okay, it seems that based on these information, the lower and upper confidence interval completely matches with the regression or linear regression. Okay, you can do this process for different information and different types and calculate easily different statistical criteria for your case. For example, I want to come back here and select the other information or other data set. Let me copy this again and paste it here, values, and transpose it. And copy the information and go to the ChatGPT and say that use the data set below. Okay, let me check which is dependent and which is independent, and I think P is X and this is Y. I mean, this is independent and this is dependent variable. Okay, this is X and this is Y. Okay, press enter and the model replace the input data set in the code. Okay, let me copy this again and go back to the ideal environment, paste it, save it, and again run this module. Okay, as you can see here, this is the regression formula, and also the R square is relatively high, and other correlation coefficient and confidence interval for S loop and for the constant coefficient. And this is the final formula for this one, and also these are the confidence interval in 50% level. And you can do this for different freedom levels. And you can easily save the figure on your computer and use in your reports or your papers. Okay, this was the linear relationship between two variables. And if you want to do multiple linear regression, you can use different dependent and independent variables. For example, here I have one dependent variables and two independent variables. For example, I want to simulate the runoff in February based on the precipitation values in February and January months. Okay, let me copy this here, paste special values and transpose it. Okay, this is x1, this is x2, and this is y. And in other words, I want to fit a regression, multiple linear regression formula on this data set like this. For example, A multiply x1 plus B multiply x2 plus C. And I want to calculate the coefficient of A, B, C, and fit a multiple linear regression to this data set. Okay, let me copy all of this. Okay, now write I want to perform a multilinear regression analysis using below. data set. Let me paste it here. Okay, multilinear. Let me name it x1, name it x2, and the final row is my dependent variable. Okay, press enter. And ChatGPT starts to code based on this data set. And we should wait to finish the coding process. Okay, let me copy this, paste it here, Control V, Control S, and run that. Okay, sometimes it may take a little bit time to finish the process. Okay, here is the practical table based on OLS, which calculated all information and different coefficients for this linear type. And also he plotted the residual values for different fitted values. However, based on R square, it means that it developed or fitted practical and reasonable regression analysis, and also you can find constant for different variables such as x1 and x2, and also you ask ChatGPT to print the final formula. Please print the formula and coefficients. Okay, if you are professional in a Python code, you can add some codes to your ideal environment, and you don't need to get back to ChatGPT and ask him to write the required codes. Okay, press code. Also, okay, here you can find all information about the multilinear regression analysis based on this data set. For example, the coefficient of x1, the coefficient of x2 and x3 plotted here. Sorry, I mean that the coefficient of x1 here, x1 here, x2 here, and the constant value, I mean c coefficient, is calculated like this. Okay, this is the required process for doing all regression analysis for linear data set. And also you can go back to the Excel and copy the nonlinear format data set and ask ChatGPT to revise the code in order to create a nonlinear regression analysis. Okay, I think Q and B. Okay, let's assume that this is Y and this is X. Okay, right now perform a non-linear regression analysis using below dataset. Sorry, using below dataset. Paste it here, and I think it was X, and this is Y. And also you can say exactly what or which type do you need. For example, I want to see fit a nonlinear formula such as y equals a multiply x to power b. And I want to ChatGPT to create a code for fitting a nonlinear formula such as this or other format you need. You just write this and ChatGPT use this format to create a related Python code. Okay, press enter. It starts to print the required steps, and after that it can give you a Python code. Okay, let me copy the code, paste it and save it and run the module. Okay, this is a nonlinear format. I mean y equal this number multiply x in exponent 0.97, and also the optimized parameter printed here. And also you can ask the ChatGPT add some codes to print the formula CC parameters and confidence intervals. Also plot the confidence intervals using line format on the figure. Okay, press. Sorry to this grammatical mistakes. Okay, wait to finish the coding process. Okay, after finishing the coding, copy the code and again come back to the ideal environment, paste it and save it and run it again. Okay, as you can see, the optimized parameter written here, the R square, the confidence interval presented here, and finally the regression formula based on this dataset is written here. But here again, unfortunately, we have a divergence in the confidence interval, and again we can ask ChatGPT to remove this error. Okay, let me type here the confidence intervals are divergence. Please modify code. Modify code. Okay, press enter. Okay, as I've mentioned before, keeping your mind that you shouldn't copy and run Python code without any consideration or without any testing or assessing, because it may lead to unreliable and wrong output. Okay, paste again, save it and run it again, and I hope it works again. Okay, sometimes you get some errors related to this code and it's related to confidence interval, and you don't need to worry. Just copy these codes and come back to the ChatGPT and paste here, and ChatGPT starts to remove or modify this error, and it says that this error you are encountering indicates that there is an issue with the shape of arrays when performing element-wise operating with this function. Okay, it starts to correct this error. Copy that and come back again, paste the new code and run the module, and I hope we have a suitable line. Okay, now you can see that the printed regression formula, the optimized parameter, and all related information, especially confidence intervals, and also you can plot the confidence interval for A and B variables, and it means that this equation is relatively reliable. Also, you can ask ChatGPT to remove this shaded area. Let me ask again the ChatGPT, plot the confidence intervals using line, not a shaded area. Okay, all processes are similar, and you can add related data sets for each relationship. If you are looking to find a linear relationship, you should enter data set in the given data sections, and other parts are similar to different linear formula. And also for multiple linear regression and multiple nonlinear regression, the process are the same, sorry, and you can do this process for every data set you have, and also you can do the nonlinear or multiple linear regression for 2, 3, 4, and for more independent variables in your case study. Okay, let me copy the data again and come back to the ideal environment and paste it again and save and run the module. Okay, we get some error again. Let me come back to the previous code and check something. CC orange color. Okay, let me copy the previous code again. Let me close this here. Copy, paste, and save. And you can change some function here. For example, I want to change the color, fill color. Let me fill color, remove the color, and check the code runs correctly or not. Okay, we did some mistake. Let me run it again. Okay, the output is like this. Let me come back to the coding process. Copy the code again. Okay, it again plot the divergence output, and let me copy this error and paste it here, and let ChatGPT to resolve this error. And as you can see, it says that the warning you are encountering related to the data set in X and Y, and it start to resolve this. And as you can see, to handle this issue, you can consider a few approaches or methods such as log transformation, normalization, and adjust model. And this is completely error while fitting nonlinear equation. Okay, after modifying and correcting the new codes, let me close this, paste again, and run the module. Okay, it again create an error, copy this, paste it here, and sometimes you may need to do this process several times to get a Python code without any error. Okay, let me paste, run again. Okay, now I think the output is not reliable, and we need to use the previous one, and we don't want to remove all shaded areas. Okay, I think it was the first one. Okay, I think this is suitable output, and we don't need to further improvement, and you can easily do this process for different information and data sets based on your major field. And I hope this tutorial will be helpful for you in your studies and in your thesis. If you have any question about the processes, about the using regression analysis and ChatGPT, just keep in touch with me. I hope you have a good time. Bye bye.